Good morning and welcome to the new episode of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. What's happening the world over, and especially in the countries which pride themselves on being multicultural, secular, liberal, and swayed by the religious talk of coexistence, the whole world being your family, irrespective of the religion, caste, color, creed. From Charlie Bebo's cartoon of Muhammad resulting in the death of the people, to the recent killing of the Sri Lankan in Pakistan, to the lynching and the killing of the people in India, they could have been taken as isolated examples of lunacy. But when this lunacy is talked from a public platform and no action is taken, then it shows that we are in for a change. That the slow, steady, creeping walk of fanaticism, sectarianism, narrow-mindedness has now grown up and is a galloping, riderless horse. Where are we heading? The consequences of mixing communal hatred, religiosity, and hyper-nationalism into normal business political life are now very clear to see. My intention this week was to talk about the lynching in Punjab Gurdwaras, which I had talked earlier in the name of sacrilege. They shamed me, and I did not recognize these people representing my religion, which talks of compassion. And I was amazed, as I talked last time, that not a single person was prosecuted for murder of two young people. They might be wrong, I'm not denying it, but they were not this execution was in fact a plain murder, and unfortunately the case was registered against an conspiracy, not against murder. And the head of Akal Takht is betrayer of Sikhism, Sikh values. It should shame our political leaders that they fulminated against sacrilege but was too cowardly to admit that the real desecration was the two men were lynched in place of worship. The same videos of the speeches for a genocide against Muslims by saffron-robed saints, and to call them saints is ridiculous at the Dharm Sansad, the religious parliament in Hardwar. And they are talking of killing indiscriminately the people who belong to that. Then comes the news from Assam and Mizoram and other places that young hoodlums are saying, don't celebrate Christmas. Christmas should, only the Christians should celebrate Christmas, and you should not wish Merry Christmas. The same Taliban attitude which we saw in Canada, which we saw in USA, that Merry Christmas is a taboo word. Nonsense. And to heighten the tensions, political troublemakers released on social media a doctored video of Asuddin Owaisi that made him Saudi was threatening the Hindus in a post-Modi era. He is no saint. Let me be very clear. His brother had talked of killing 1 crore of Hindus in 15 minutes if the police was taken off and took a holiday. So it came clear to me that what is happening is a much larger thing than the horrible killing in those two Gurdwaras in Punjab. What we are seeing is fanaticism seizing the religious narrative across all lines of faith. And then This achieved the official sanction when the Home Minister of a province, Madhya Pradesh, first threatened Savitri, the model designer clothes. Then now he is threatening Sunny Leon for singing a song of devotion, but because he says that she has sung in a manner which is derogatory to religion. Have these jokers forgotten that sex was an important part of the Indian culture and Indian religion? The Konark and the Sun temples are a sight to be seen and are enjoyed by the people all over the world, and their eroticism. India was the first country to bring out a complete book on sex, Kama Sutra. And these Johnnies think that Krishna would be insulted. Since when are these Johnnies the protectors and custodians? And then tell people, don't wish Merry Christmas is bad. As a matter of fact, I'm disgusted with these leaders and I'm disappointed with Prime Minister Modi. I've always regarded him as a competent person, which he is. But this fulmination and culmination of the deliberate process of stirring religious passions, which is evident now, is something horrible, and he should have taken an action. He is failing in his Raj Dharma. Undeniably, Modi wears Hindu faith as a badge of honor, and there's no problem with that. Everybody has a right to practice the way he wants. And you know, those secular prime ministers who would never hesitate to participate in Hindu religious ceremonies, they were being hypocrites. So if he worships on the bank of Ganges, or he goes to Kedarnath to pray, that's absolutely his right. But when he keeps quiet in the face of the fact that the Muslims and the Dalits are being lynched, that the churches are being vandalized, that people have been asked not to wish Merry Christmas to each other, when the murders are being committed inside the Gurdwaras, and he keeps quiet. Doesn't he think that the correction game which he started has gone too far, and the consequences of new anti-secular strategy would be terrible? If political leaders take secularism too far, the consequences are usually benign. Let's be very clear. It means that the religion should remain a private matter and should never be given so high a political status that could cause India to be divided in the name of the religion. The two-nation theory is not desirable, because if that happens, it will result in vivisection. It gives credence to the right of the Sikhs and the Khalistan to demand Khalistan. Why not? Then the northern India states and the Kerala would ask for the Christian lands. Jains can call for a separate country. The Buddhists can call for a separate country. There was at one time a movement for a separate Dravidistan. Why should the Dravids live with the Aryans? Then this partition was horrible for most Indians. But as the wounds went by, the wounds healed slowly. They were forgotten. But this did not happen for the RSS, whose idea of nationalism became inextricably mixed with the hatred of Muslims. Let me tell you, I detest Taliban, and with the same intensity I detest the Sikh Taliban, the Khalistanis, and the Hindu Talibans, which are now coming into prominence, would receive the same scorn, same ridicule as anyone else. Prime Minister should not have talked of the partition and reopened the old wounds. He could have done the thing in a different ways. when in hand-picked Chief Minister sets up Romeo squads? That's bad. You talk of love jihad. Every human being has a right to choose his life partner irrespective of their religion. You talk of the conversion, but you permit ghar wapsi. Anybody can reconvert to Hinduism, but Hindu cannot become a Muslim and Hindu cannot become a Christian. Isn't that absolutely being ridiculous? It was incumbent on Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah that they should have stopped this talk of love jihad and conversion, but they remained silent. And then the BJP Chief Minister started passing laws to stop religious conversion, but chose to be so silent when the Christian priests and the churches came under attack in recent months. And these attacks are becoming more frequent and more barbaric. And yet, the glacial silence is seen. The only time when Pragya Thakur said that Nathuram Godse was a patriot and his patriotism led him to assassinate Mahatma Gandhi, Modi condemned it. And he said he would never forgive her. That was a statesman-like averment. And that should be the routine rather than an exception. But no action was taken against her. Meanwhile, after winning his second term, he has to tell that religiosity is his personal matter. And so is it the matter of 1.3 billion people. But the religious slogans now openly raised at political meetings by the senior leaders of BJP is something absolutely detestable and not acceptable. The consequences of mixing communal hatred, religiosity, hyper-nationalism is clear. As a matter of fact, it looks like the lunatic asylum, there has been a coup. And the lunatics have taken over this asylum. The lunatics are the fanatics. Every religion has its share of extremists and bigots. I talked of the Khalistanis and Sikhs. I talked of the Taliban in Muslims, Bareilly in Muslims. And so are there die-hard people in Hinduism. Though the majority of Hinduism and the real Sanatana Dharma are so Catholic in values that they really believe the whole world is your family. And this action by the bigots shows that despite India's long history of intercommunal violence, there never was a time when they would have been allowed to steer the ship of the faith. So what happens next? Nothing good. We are likely to see the more killings in the name of the faith. We are likely to see more fanatics creeping stealthily into dark caves in which they have remained hidden for a long time. They have tasted blood. They have sensed that their time has come. And these cannibals, they are cannibals, have realized that they have somehow become more powerful than most powerful political leaders. This is not good for India. This is not good for the world. But inevitably, when a Prime Minister as capable and as popular as Narendra Modi does not rebuke them and punish them, he's not only rebuking, he has to send them to jail straight away. Get them arrested under the most stringent laws which India has and ensure that they remain there. And if they cannot maintain it, then let him round them up and send them in a lunatic asylum. But he has to do something. At the mundane level, We have seen the results of Chandigarh yesterday. BJP, which was in absolute majority, lost and is now number 2, while Kejriwal's buffoon party, AAP, is going to rule Chandigarh. And what Chandigarh does today, Punjab does tomorrow. Even BJP is tying up with Amrinder may not be of much help, since now the Kisans, the farmers, have their own political party, which was the base of Amrinder's party. And BJP might get 0 seat in Punjab. In UP they might win, though with a reduced majority. But what's clear? That things are not happening. What Prime Minister should do is to see that the Chief Minister of Assam, the Home Minister of Madhya Pradesh, these should be at least prosecuted, dismissed, removed from the service. This will send a message that nonsense cannot be tolerated. As things are today, one thing stands clear, and that's very painful, agonizing. And that is that the opium of the masses, the religion, is much easier to rely on the election time. And this use of opium of the masses has more promises of shining new highways and vague promises of development. They are not going to take people, but you talk of religion in danger, and people will gird up their loins and think, really, the end of the world is near. Come on, wake up. You have to understand that these buffoons turned lunatics are a curse. Curse for the country, curse for the society, curse for the humanity. These lunatics, these buffoons, these fanatics need to be chastised and told in very clear terms, enough is enough. You shall not be allowed to pay drugs and tricks with the social fabric of the country, with the political system of the country, and not be allowed to sow the seeds of conflict, of communal tension, and of hatred. That's what they're doing. And the sooner this is done, the better it would be. Tomorrow, it may be too late. Thank you.